Hello everyone, I'm Annie Gibbins and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success and what they have learnt along the way. So I'm delighted today to introduce to you Aleksandra Di Gesaro, who's a fashion photographer, writer and entrepreneur based in Milan, Italy. Aleksandra graduated law, but then understood it wasn't her true calling and decided to pursue the artistic career. So she now helps artists to do the same. She's turned her passion into a full-time job and makes a living creating art. Her photographs have won numerous competitions and have been published in international magazines, and she loves taking pictures during Milan Fashion Week. Lucky lady. And in her free time, she loves reading and traveling. And what better way to get to know her than to chat today on our podcast. So welcome to the program, Aleksandra.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So tell me and the listeners, you're welcome by the way, how does a lawyer from Poland become a fashion photographer in Milan, Italy?
So I've been a fan of photography. I love taking pictures since I was like 13 and I got my first digital camera. But like many members of my family love photography and none of them is professional photographers. So I never really considered it could be my job. You know, my parents are actually doctors. So I was brought up in this very traditional way of thinking, you know, get a good job, get good degree, etc. And so yes, I went to law school and then I moved to Italy right after graduation to join my then fiance and now my husband. And I realized that the job market in Italy is completely different than the one in Poland. And it was a real disaster because in Poland, having a law degree, when I never really planned to be a lawyer, but I thought, okay, having a law degree, I can work in, international corporations. I can, get some good job in a bank or something that can work well. And I arrived here and it turned out that, well, practically for every position, you need another degree. And with the law degree, you can only be a lawyer practically. And additionally, I had my diploma in theory was valid because it's internationally like approved in Europe, but it was Polish law and not Italian law. So in practice, it was valid in theory, it was valid in practical law.
So you've come to Milan and you've then started applying for jobs. What's happened there?
Well, actually, I didn't even come to Milan at the time. I came to Padua, which is a small city not so far from Venice. And I've been spending every day sending job applications. They were all remaining unanswered. I got maybe just a few interviews that were a disaster. And, I was really depressed because I have 3 degrees, I speak 5 languages, and when I didn't even get an interview for a secretary, I was really, really depressed. And I was like, there's something not working here. So after around 8 months, I decided, okay, you know what? I'm done. Like, I'm putting so much effort into getting a job that I will most probably hate, and I can't even get any results in that. So, well, how about if I just try doing what I actually love doing and see how it goes, because it can't go any worse than it already is.
Certainly going to make you feel better. Okay, yeah. So you suddenly picked up the camera.
Yeah, I decided, okay, I knew I had it already clear that if I would like to do artistic career, I would like to be a fashion photographer. So I just started pursuing my career in that direction, even if I was in a foreign country, in a small city, without fashion, that I didn't know anybody. So it was also also a challenge.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So okay, so you're going with your passion, you're digging deep, going, okay, this is totally depressing. I can't even get a job as a lawyer, and I've got like, yeah, that's right, all these degree qualifications. I've done exactly what my parents wanted me to do. You're following your passion, but you still don't know anyone. So how did you suddenly get into that profession then? How did you break in, I suppose?
So the only idea I had, the only thing that popped into my mind was, okay, let's try Instagram. Because back in Poland, at least I knew some makeup artists, I knew some models, so maybe I would have any ideas of how to start.
Yeah.
In Italy, I really didn't know absolutely anybody. I searched for photographers in that city. There were practically none in the field I wanted. There were no model agencies, there were no studios, so anything that I would normally start with, there was none. So I just decided, okay, let's try this thing of Instagram. So I focused on that. I bought a course. I started studying, posting, planning everything, digging deep. And actually, it was pretty insane because like a month later, I got this message on Instagram from a blogger from India saying, "Hi, next week I'm coming for the Milan Fashion Week. Would you like to come with me for like 5 days and take pictures of me, enter the shows, enter the backstage of the shows, and take pictures of everything for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely I want."
Oh, most definitely. Let me just check my diary. Oh, okay, I can squeeze you in.
Yeah, definitely. But inside was like,
Yeah, how exciting. All right. So you've got a break. You've got one client. Awesome.
yeah.
So you followed him around for the week. You took all of his photos, and then what happened?
So yeah, I've been with her. I was trying obviously to make some contacts during the fashion week, and everything seemed woohoo, it's great. I finally entered. This is it. And then I came back, and I came back to my misery. It was because you think that this huge opportunity will solve all your problems and it will be suddenly so easy,
Yeah.
and it's not quite right like that. And so I had to keep working, make new contacts, and slowly later I moved to Milan, because obviously this is the fashion city.
Sure.
And so I was slowly making progress, but I took this first experience on Milan Fashion Week that was like really like an explosion, because for example the first show we entered, the first backstage we entered was Moschino. So I've seen like Gigi Hadid, Jeremy Scott, Kaya Gerber, everybody there. And it was like, whoa, what am I doing here? So I treated this first experience a little bit like a sign, you can say, like a
Yeah.
promise, like, yeah, you can do it and you're moving in the right direction, and now do the job together.
Okay, so let's unpack a few things there. So you've stumbled across the most amazing reality that sometimes things can just drop in your lap. You can just have an opportunity that you just got to seize at in a millisecond of decision and go, yes, I'm there, and I will maximize whatever I can out of that opportunity, which you did.
Yeah.
You can then get that distorted reality that go, oh, it was so easy and I was so good at it, it'll keep falling in my lap, and that doesn't happen. Yeah. So, which is hard, because then you come off the roller coaster of emotion of how great it was and it wasn't that difficult, and you could do it if given the
Yeah.
opportunity, but that can then come with a real downer, can't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. But it also then shows you that, okay, well, what do I have to do then? What steps do I have to take to then put myself back into that position? So were you able to, when you had your first break, be able to make up, all of your assets, your digital assets, to be able to promote yourself in that space? How did that enable you to be able to position yourself to get more business like the first client?
So of course, even if maybe I wasn't getting immediately all the jobs and you might think you get from such an opportunity, it definitely made my position stronger, because I wasn't just any girl anymore. I
Yeah.
was, I was taking pictures on Milan Fashion Week. I have pictures of these famous models. Who cares? They didn't even know I was there. But, when you are just starting out, you have to, find ways to promote yourself the best you can. And the fact was, I've been on Milan Fashion Week. So my position got stronger. And additionally, I held a lot of pictures to publish on Instagram. So I've been seen by other bloggers who were writing me, most photographers don't understand what is blogging photography. So when they were seeing that I've been working with this blogger on Milan Fashion Week and I had all these pictures in the style that they needed, I started getting more and more engagements and more contacts, actually from bloggers, which is something I never really expected. But it also turned out that this way I somehow turned my disadvantage into an advantage. What I mean is that I'm not what you usually consider a photographer to be like. I'm small, I'm a young female, I dress pink. And so this is totally not how you imagine a photographer. But it actually, I found out that that's why most of those girls want to work with me, because they feel much more comfortable with me because I'm mostly almost their age. So they feel much more relaxed. I help them style. They don't shy if they have to change in front of me. I help them with a zipper, fixing the dress or anything. Sometimes even I travel with them, and so we can sleep in the same room. So I actually found out that even if entering this traditional field can take longer, and this traditional fashion photography, let's say, can take longer, I found that there's this new branch of fashion photography that is bloggers photography, and I can also enter a lot of places with this. And actually, it was my advantage because, as I said, many girls tell me, photographers usually don't understand what I need. What is this kind of photography?
Yeah. Okay, so just getting them, knowing your customer and knowing what value you can add for them. So making sure that they have a problem which they don't feel comfortable with certain people, or people don't understand them, and you've been able to be the answer to that problem. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it all came from this fact that I just tried the only idea that came to my mind that seemed really silly to me. But I was like, okay, it's the only thing I have, so I will just start it out. And I think this is like the key, not to just wait for an opportunity, just to use what you have at that very moment, and take any action, even if it's so small you feel even stupid to do it.
That's right. Well, when you're desperate, you go, too bad if it's stupid, I'm going to do it anyway. And
Yeah.
not so stupid, it's kind of like just go with the flow, because there are changing markets as well. And in other businesses, you might be focusing on one area and then realizing that the market is changing, and you've got to be able to maximize those opportunities and pivot very quickly. So let's go back to then the way you would describe yourself. If you were going to describe yourself as a photographer before you went to the fashion festival for the first time, and then how you would brand yourself afterwards, what would be the difference in the language that you would have used to communicate what you offer?
Well, there was for sure a difference in the way I perceived myself, because before I was just, I'm a girl who likes to take pictures, and I think I could do it. And here are some pictures I took for fun, and I think they're pretty good. So maybe I would like to take a look. After that, after going to Milan Fashion Week, I was like, I'm a pro now. and I was like, yeah, I'm a professional photographer, I'm a fashion photographer. It was like the first time I could actually call myself that, and obviously it was empowering, and it was also making me believe that I'm not just a hobbyist anymore, just a girl playing around, but that I'm actually good and somebody noticed that, and so I can give this value also to you.
Yeah, I think that's really great for you to share with people, because that's exactly it. But, and I hear in the body, the language that people use when they refer to themselves. It's kind of like, well, I think I could help you, or I try, and it's very timid or tentative, and they're not giving me a lot of confidence, like the language you used before. So thank you for sharing that, because then after you've done something, that it revs up that level. It's like, oh yes, I'm an international photographer, and I have done Fashion Week, and I've had a client, and blah 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 blah, blah, it suddenly profiles you, you know, in such a different light. And it also just communicates, you know, competency, doesn't it? It's like, yes, I'm tried and tested. I do know what I'm doing. I do know how it's working, and I'm sure that I can meet your requirements.
Definitely. And for me, it was also, I admit it wasn't that at first I was feeling, yes, I'm awesome. I was on Fashion Week. I'm a pro. Later, having those struggles, I was a bit, oh, you know, maybe it was just like a one time or something, but it was my internal conversation. But outside, sometimes you, at least for me, it worked doing the thing called fake it until you make it.
Yes.
So in this case, I really could say, you know, I took pictures of those famous models. I entered those shows. I took pictures during Milan Fashion Week. So I'm a pro, even if I didn't always believe it, because I was like, you know, it seems quite accidental that I was there. But to the outside world, I could really say, I could put it in my curriculum. And so it was already building my presence and my professionalism, even if sometimes I didn't feel it honestly inside, because I needed time and other jobs to prove that it was true.
Of course. And I love fake it till you make it. Absolutely. And everybody should, you know? Because we all have those thoughts and feelings, you know, and whatever we do, it's kind of like, well, it was only once, maybe it wasn't real, or maybe it was just, you know, luck or whatever. And, you know, we all have those crazy negative beliefs that pop into our mind. And it's kind of like, no, if you've done it once, then you know, you're more than capable. Let's start focusing on the next one and the next one and the next one. So then you decided, after you started getting a few clients of your own, you then started to think, okay, well, I need to now scale this and teach other people. So were other people approaching you to find out, well, how did you do what you were doing? Or what was the catalyst for you opening up your own training in this area?
So actually, it was seeing some of my friends and amazing, talented people that I see that never even try. That I have a friend, for example, who should be a cook. She loves cooking, it's her passion, and she's actually studying to be a judge. So if you see that disproportion in that, it's great. It sounds insane, but she says no, because it's risky and I don't know how to do. It's not safe, and you know, I want financial stability. So I just do this job. I stay, make this university, even if I know that maybe I will not be so passionate about it, but at least I will have like a secure life, and I can always cook in the meantime, like at home for fun. And I've been seeing so many people like this, and it was really heartbreaking for me, because I realized that how many years I put into studying law. And my husband is a doctor, so I see how many years he's putting into university, then specialization, that all the internships and everything. And in fact, since my decision of being that yes, I will become a photographer, I took 6 months to work full time as a photographer. Okay, I didn't arrive to don't know what money immediately, but I could make a living from that. And I was like, if you compare all this amount of time, like if for those 10 years, for example, I will be studying and trying and pursuing my career as a photographer, actually after half of the time I will be much farther than this friend who is trying to be a judge, and my husband who is still, you know, studying. So it's just that people don't realize it. And then I read that 75 or even 80% of people hate their jobs. And I know that it was, and this was like, whoa, it was mind blowing, this number. And I know that many of those people would like to pursue a creative career. They just don't believe it's possible, because we are not taught how to do it. We are taught, you know, to follow the patterns. So for me, this was like a catalyst. Okay, I want to make sure that more people manage to do what they love, because I've done it and I know it's possible, and it's so liberating and so amazing. And I believe that if more people would do what they love, the world would be a better and a happier place. So this was a catalyst for me to start teaching and helping others.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, you're the right person to be teaching them. So let's ask the obvious question. How's your family back in Poland responded? They've, you know, you hear you've been the great daughter and you've gone and done law, you know. Like every good Polish daughter should, because it's a really solid, dependable career. It shows that you're intelligent, shows that you have opportunities. And so that's probably been a lot of your childhood, that you would do that automatically. And so how does that go down back home, and doesn't matter?
So my grandma still asks me, when will you get a job? And I'm like, okay, who cares? Like, no, actually, with my parents, it was like a process that started even before I went to law school, because at the beginning I wanted to go to film school, and so I was studying. And at the beginning, my parents, especially my mom, were very much against it. My dad told me, you will end up working in a supermarket. My mom was totally scared. Then my mom made me like an ultimatum, like, okay, apply for film school, but also pass your exams the way that you can enter good university in case you don't enter the film school. Good. So we had this deal, and I didn't enter film school, but I entered 3 schools of law. So I went to law school. But at first, maybe my parents thought it's like, a teenage hobby, something I just like doing. But later, within the years, the years were passing, and I was still taking pictures instead of like I was passing all my exams on law, but it's not that I really cared. But yes, in between, I was always organizing photo shoots, going there, shooting that. And I think my mom especially started understanding that it's not just a idea that will pass. It's just something inside me. So at some point she told me, honey, I know you will not be a lawyer, just please graduate. And so I graduated, and actually now my mom is my biggest fan. I sometimes feel like it's a Billy Elliot story, because now my mom supports me a lot, and she tells me she's proud of me. And even if it's difficult, she doesn't tell me come back, or no, you will do, you just need time. If there's a more difficult moment, she supports me a lot. So this actually means a lot to me. And for example, the family that I had more problems with was the family of my husband.
Okay.
In Italy, they are even more traditional. They have even more traditional way of thinking than in Poland. Here, like, a dream is to get this fixed job for the rest of your life, and this is like a dream come true, something that for me personally is a nightmare. But and so my parents-in-law were sending me job opportunities, like in post office or something that is a very good public place, and I was getting crazy. I was like, I don't want, but it's such a good place, you can be a photographer in the afternoon. And I'm like, but why, if I can be all the day? So it took a while, and a lot of support also of my husband, who was explaining to his family that no, she's different. She wants to do different things, and just accept that. So, but yes, still here I'm treated like an alien. Like most people don't understand what I.
So you've got your in-laws now harassing you to start working in a post office and just get an actual sort of day job, if you like, because you're going a little bit crazy following your hobby and trying to make it a full-time job. You've got your parents who can't believe that you wouldn't be acting as working as a lawyer, but fair enough. You've always shown those artistic qualities. And so for you, wanting to be a successful woman in your own right, independently, what does it mean to you to actually just follow your path, follow your strengths, knowing what you've always loved doing? You mentioned before, even from back at age 10, you always knew that you had artistic sort of qualities. How important is that for you?
Well, for me, it's super, super important, and it's really, really liberating. Like, even on worst days, when I think, okay, maybe I should get a day job, and later I imagine my dad in the day job. No, nothing. It would be worse than my worst day anyway. So for me, it's really liberating, and I'm much less stressed than when I was trying to pursue this career, because I knew that I was trying to get something that wouldn't work for me. And I don't know, it's just really something that I love, and also I feel like following my purpose. I'm still discovering things, but I'm feeling I can create some change. I can say something, and it means a lot to me, not just going to do that job because somebody tells you to do it. And also this path that I chose gives me the liberty, and I think it's in terms of what I do, but also when I work. And actually few weeks ago I found this like exercise, like find your real why are you doing things that you're doing. And it turned out that my real why is that at the end of life I want to be able to say I don't regret nothing, I don't regret anything. And so practically every step I take is based on this motivation. And last year, I also realized how grateful I am for the career that I chose, even if it's not easy at times. Because, for example, a member of my family got very ill and had to have an urgent surgery and spend a month in hospital. And the next day, I jumped on the plane and I spent a month in hospital. And I just postponed some photo shoots. The rest I was working from my laptop, and I didn't lose any money on that. And my biggest like fear, I don't know how to call it, through all this time was, oh my God, and what if I would have a 9 to 5 job and my boss wouldn't let me go, or they would let me go for 2 or 3 days, or they would let me go, but I wouldn't be able to take any vacation this year to even spend time with my husband. Like, it was such a strong feeling for me. That was like, wow, I really appreciate what I'm doing and the life that I chose.
Yeah. That you can be your own boss and you can have your own flexibility and you can, make it your own,
Definitely.
live it in your own way. Yeah. Terrific. So how successful can you be? What's the dream outcome for the new career? Oh, it's not new anymore. The career that you've chosen. What does that look like for you?
Well, my dream outcome is the Vogue cover, but I'm working on that. But well, for sure, like just seeing the results of my work, helping artists and seeing that they get results and they start earning, and they are not afraid anymore to say, this is my work. I want to do my living on this. And also in the fashion photography, I decided that my purpose here is to help those young designers, because there are so many of them, to get really nice pictures, because I see so many of them that they don't know, create those fashion shows that they pay a lot for, and later they don't get any outcome. But on Instagram they have 1 or 2 pictures of their collection taken by phone. And so I'm also trying to educate them that what sells their clothes is not the runway show that is seen by few people actually, but mostly is the quality of the pictures. So I also want to help them elevate their designs, because they put so much effort and studies into it that then later hardly anybody sees it because they don't show it properly. So I want to also elevate that and help those emerging fashion designers.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful, because there's so many people that get frustrated at that very young stage in their career, that they've done their qualification, they know they love it, they're good at it, but they can't make themselves known. They can't get that next level up. They have that feeling like you had. If only I got discovered, I'd be able to show people my worth and my value that I offer to them. So having a woman in their space, being able to mentor and coach them to do that, I think that's absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
So what have been as your biggest challenges then? Besides, you've had a lot, you've had moving countries, did you need to learn Italian as well, or did you speak Italian before you came?
I spoke a bit because I've been already with my husband for a few years back then, but obviously it was challenging. But when I talk one-on-one with a friend, I don't really care about making mistakes. They understand me anyway. But
Sure.
when I'm on a professional conversation, it was hard. I still sometimes worry when I make the first call that somebody, won't like me just because I sound different or I say a weird word or something like this. But a huge challenge was talking on phone, especially with males who have low voice. It was like I couldn't understand anything, so it was a gigantic challenge in a new country. And another challenge was also learning who to follow and who not to follow, because I've been trying also, even if I already had some of my clients, I wanted to make an assistant of a more experienced photographer, to see how they work, to see how things work here in Milan, and learn about the industry. And these experiences were quite hard, I have to admit. Like, if you've seen Devil Wears Prada and Meryl
Yes.
Streep playing Miranda, I've been working for a lady like this. Exactly, I felt like that.
You've met Miranda Priestley.
Exactly. So it was also a decision to make. Is it worth it? And I decided it's not. Because, for example, in the movie, Anne Hathaway decides that yes, it's worth it because after I make this period by her, everybody else will hire me. In this case, I didn't have any security like that. So it seemed to me, additionally, I was working for free at first, and it was like, maybe in some future I will start paying you. So I was like, you know what? Thanks. But it was also another thing, and I had already a few experiences like that, so it was also a big lesson when to say no. I know my worth, and even if it may seem weird or I don't know how I will solve this problem, I'm not gonna follow you. I'm not gonna work for free. I'm not gonna spend 3 months in a magazine carrying bags, like all these things that were happening to me. And it was one of the biggest challenges.
Oh, I think a huge challenge, Aleksandra, and a massive learning that, people in these positions of power and influence then take advantage of people because they know you need a break and they know that you are desperate at times in those early stages, and they will then use you for slave labor and just sort of keep promising. So to actually make a call and go, okay, well, sometimes, I'll have some opportunities to do some volunteer or pro bono to get that experience or to get that on my CV or to get a portfolio made. But, there are limits to that because it actually does devalue you as, not just your skill set, but as a human being. You feel, it is quite a harsh reality to experience. So well done you for making that call.
Other thing was that as I said, I'm female, I'm quite small. So I can't really do those traditional photographer's assistant. So I also been discriminated at times when I went and I applied for this studio internship in a studio. That was already a humiliation because there was like a line of few months waiting to make a free internship in a studio. Like of 6 months, like it was already a disaster. And I went there and the guy told me, but it's in photography schools, they don't teach you nothing. You mostly don't know any equipment. So first you have to do like 2 months in the magazine, just packing and unpacking the equipment. But the equipment is heavy. And I looked at him like, and you seriously think that my size is gonna stop me from becoming a photographer?
I don't think anything's gonna stop you.
So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll manage myself.
Did you buy a roller bag?
I did. I actually did. And it's changed my life.
There's always ways to get around this situation. So
definitely,
I love it.
Definitely. I also learned how to take pictures with as little equipment as I only can. So sometimes people are even surprised because I come with camera, one lens, and okay, I'm happy. Don't worry, we'll do the job.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where you can be creative. People set rules of ways things are done, and then it's up to, anyone in their area of expertise to go, okay, well, how can I, do I need all those rules? Do those rules work for me? How can I get around them? If they, anything can sort of be adapted, I suppose, for what your requirements are, whether it's the muscles required to carry gear, or just that some steps just don't make sense, or you think you can approach them in a different way. So
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
creativity. Now, listening to your story and thinking, oh my gosh, she had it all in one country with a career, and she's given it up, and she's now sort of forged her way. What qualities do you think that make up a strong woman?
For sure, persistence, and not being afraid to face a challenge, even if it might not be the easiest way, but knowing your worth and knowing you won't give up your values and your dreams just for what other people want, and just being active and just trying and retrying and patience, giving yourself the time, because these things don't come in one day, and I'm very impatient myself, so for me it's the most difficult thing to wait for the results, but just never giving up. Like I heard lately this example that if you have a child and your child is learning to walk, after how many falls would you tell them to give up? And obviously it's stupid because till they learn.
And for those who've are listening and they've sort of tried so many times, that's what it takes. It takes you to just keep backing up every day, and until sometimes you get the lucky break on the first time, sometimes it just starts flooding in, sometimes there's a big gap, and you've just got to keep trying new things and being in a positioning yourself so that if those opportunities arise, you're there to take the advantage of them, and also to be able to adapt and pivot as you have done, that you've sort of found got yourself and found success in certain areas, and then went, oh okay, well there's now new opportunities in the area of photography, blogging, things that you had never even thought of. But if that's where the business is and that's where people need you, the knowledge that you've learnt that women models are appreciating you because you understand their needs and are more sensitive in certain areas, and so that's a niche area. So being able to adapt your business according to the needs of your customers, I think you've done that really well, and that's a great lesson for us all to learn. So terrific. Well, it's been fantastic to interview you today. Thank you so much for sharing with me. I've really appreciated it.
Thank you for talking to me. It was really, really nice, and I hope the people listening get some inspiration and value from this conversation.
Absolutely. So how will they find you, Aleksandra?
So the best way to find me is through my website. It's creativeartist.online, and there you can see my pictures. There are my social links. There you can also get my free audio training that is from the hobbyist to a full-time artist in 5 steps, when I give a kind of a roadmap of the whole process. And yes, there's my blog, and there's a live chat, so you can always contact me. I love getting messages. I answer them as soon as I can. And yes, I'll be happy to hear from you.
Terrific. Fantastic. Well, I'll put all of those details on my podcast platform, and so people will be able to reach out to you. And yeah, once again, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes, and of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.